Hey guys, I think I got it figured out. The only thing that bothers me is when you know how when you have your own voice in your head and then you hear it again and it sounds terrible. So I guess that's my voice and how it sounds. Sorry about that. Um, Basically, what I want to talk about is kind of going back for a while. Um, if I could think about it, I would say in fourth grade. That's kind of going a ways back, but I want to talk about all this. I think it kind of all connects and makes a lot of sense if you think about it from back then. When I was in the fourth grade, I started playing football, and I think before then, I was weighing about 100 pounds or a little bit less. I remember being with my cousin, and we both weighed close to around 100 pounds. Well, in fourth grade, you get to play Pop Warner football. So I went in and tried out and everything. I thought I would have done pretty good just because um, I was kind of a bigger kid. Actually pretty short. I'm maybe around 5'7", 5'8", closer to 5'8", but um, I always felt like I was bigger than everybody else. That was just kind of how I just felt about myself. I know that there were other kids, even in kindergarten, they would have these biceps already, little kindergarten kids. These were my friends, and a lot of people would, a lot of my other friends would be afraid of them or be amazed by them, but I was never afraid of any of them. I always thought, big whoop. Even though they were bigger than me, I always felt like I was bigger than everybody else. So I went to football in fourth grade and thought I could be successful just because I was bigger than everybody else. Well, what I found out is in Pop Warner, they have a weight limit because you have some kids, I don't know what they weigh in fourth grade, maybe 60, 70 pounds, or at the very lightest. I don't know what the weights are, but I know that I was too heavy in fourth grade for Pop Warner, so I had to lose a couple pounds. I had to make weight in fourth grade. I was too heavy to play football in fourth grade. Well, I ended up quitting football. I did make the weight. Another thing that struck me about that is I would be practicing, and in one of the practices, I wasn't as tough as I thought I'd be. It requires a lot of athletic skill, and you have to train in order to do that. Well, what I did is we would do these drills where you run around the lap, and it was a light day for whatever reason, and so the coach told all the kids, I being one of them on the team, that just a light day, so we're not doing really sprints or anything. We're just gonna kind of jog real light, take it easy. So we start jogging around this track. Well, the coach sees me and I'm jogging, and the coach blows his whistle and yells at everybody and says, everybody, and I'm sorry, I did notice in my test video that my voice was a little loud, so I'm sorry. I'm probably gonna get a little bit loud here, so I don't know how I could fix that if I back up or something. But anyways, the coach says, everybody, uh, everybody jog except for Desi. Desi, you run. And the reason why I said that is because my jog was so slow that my run was equivalent to everybody else's jog. So I remember that stuck. That's something that stuck into my head about how I was being viewed physically and being able to hang with the other kids in sports. Well, so I don't know what that weight class was that I didn't make weight, or that I did make weight, but I had to lose it in order to play football. And like I said, I'm not very tall, so I noticed that in fourth grade is when I started to gain a lot of weight. Fifth grade, I remember seeing pictures of me playing baseball, and I was pretty overweight then in fifth grade. Sixth grade, I wish I had the medals with me to remember, but I think in sixth grade when I started wrestling. In sixth grade, I weighed, I think, 140 pounds was the weight class that I did in wrestling. When you weigh that much in middle school, most of the kids at 140 pounds are all eighth graders, and I was a sixth grader. So I was always wrestling kids that were older than me, and then do very good. That first year in sixth grade, weighing 140 pounds. I think in seventh grade, then I gained another 20 pounds. I was 160 pounds as a seventh grader. Then in 8th grade, I gained another 20 pounds. So I was 180 pounds as an 8th grader. Um, by this time, I had developed the skills that were necessary to be an athlete. I did win the state championship as an 8th grader at 180 pounds. The weight class above 180 pounds in middle school was heavyweight. So I never made it to heavyweight, but I did have to lose weight in order to make the 180 pounds. Uh, High school, I kind of leveled off a little bit, but not really, because in my freshman year, the weight class that I went up to was 215 pounds, and that was basically my walking around weight. I didn't have to lose any weight my freshman year. So when I did that, I maintained my weight. I gained a little bit of strength, but just a little bit. I relied mostly on skill and technique to be able to compete, be competitive in wrestling. Then my sophomore year, I think I dropped down. I can't remember if it was my sophomore or junior year when I dropped down to 189 pounds. And when I did that, I think I started out at around 130 pounds, maybe 115 pounds. My senior year, for sure, I know. Again, my senior year, I won the state championships finally, uh, and I was weighing 100, and the weight class was 115 pounds, but I think I was walking around at 120, 125, maybe a couple days at 130 around Thanksgiving or middle of summer. Anyways, for those of you joining the video, I'm going to be talking about. All right, now I'm just talking about my weight over my lifetime. I kind of started around 4th grade, and now I'm going through high school, and how I've kind of always been overweight. But it didn't really bother me too much because I was very competitive in wrestling. Now, so with that attitude, I never really felt like I was overweight because I was. Let's put it like this: if I'm 5'7" right now, and this has been this way since 6th grade, I've always wrestled people who were taller than me and older than me. So if I'm 5'7" right now, or 5'8", at 215 pounds, you got to realize that even competing at the national level, at the state level, you're not competing against people who are trying out. You're competing against people who have been wrestling for years. You're competing against top athletes. One of the guys I remember wrestling, he went on to ASU as their star running back. I forget his name, but anyways, these guys were mostly, I don't know, about the 6 foot height, solid weight, and solid muscle, I should say, solid muscle. Probably, I don't know, 7 to 10% body fat. Meanwhile, me, I'm 5'7". Uh, I'm walking around maybe 25 to 30% body fat, and I'm beating these kids in wrestling matches because of my technique. So when I look at people who are physically fit and they're a lot taller than me, I've never considered that, okay, these people are superior to me in athletics. I've always felt that I was the superior one athletically, because I felt that I can always take them down, or I could figure it out how in any type of physical confrontation I would be able to win. Well, that played a detriment to myself because I always felt comfortable being overweight. I never thought about it. Well, that was in my teens and 19s and 20. Went on to college. When I got into college is when I started to suffer injuries. The first injury was actually in high school. I got shin splints, and I was no longer able to run. And then my wrist started to hurt, so I wasn't really able to do push-ups. And I remember this in high school. Everybody else was doing push-ups, and I was doing sit-ups. And I wasn't able to do sprints because my shin splints were always hurting. And I'd always talk to the soccer players about their shin splints. They probably had a good reason running as long as they did on the field, while I was running on wrestling mats. I guess I did a lot of running too in the mornings on gravel yards and everything, but it was because I was doing all that activity with the excess of weight. But like I said, I always felt comfortable because I was able to compete at a high level. Well, now that I'm out of wrestling, a couple of other injuries I had is, I don't know if you guys can look this up. It's called turf toe. I've never really talked about it before. It's a pretty embarrassing thing. Anytime you can't compete because of a body injury, nobody can feel your pain. So when I'm guilty of this myself, when you see somebody who's a part of the team, they're supposed to compete and they're not competing right, and they say, "Oh, it's because of an injury," it feels like they're making an excuse, and it's a terrible feeling if you're the person who has that injury. I've never felt it. Like I said, when I was in high school, I got away with it because I was winning wrestling matches. But in college, um, if I said that I couldn't compete because I had turf toe, uh, I wouldn't be able to live with that. I wasn't doing good anyways. There's a different story to that. I kind of gave up uh, practicing or training, as you would call it, while I was in high school because I felt like I was so good I didn't have to train. That backfired on me big time in college. So I got turf toe. Turf toe. I didn't really explain it. They call it turf toe because football players get it a lot. When you're in that certain, they call it 3-point stance. I don't know if I can demonstrate it real quick. What you're doing is, I'll use this. This is my little workout area. It's not very nice, but when you're in football, you get in the stance and you're bent over like that. And if you're bent over like that, when you take off, you're posting all your weight on your toes, and it puts that stress, especially on these bigger toes right here. And it's the same thing when you're shooting and wrestling. I might be able to demonstrate better. I don't know if you can hear me from back here. When you're wrestling, it's the same thing. I'm putting all my pressure on this toe right here, and I shoot like that, and I come in and attack real quick. Well, that movement, it requires the strength in that toe. And it sounds so silly, to not be able to wrestle because your toe hurts. I never told anybody that. I never told anybody I couldn't train anymore because my toe was hurting. But even to this day, I'll be walking, and I guess somehow I will accidentally put too much pressure on that toe, and my toe will hurt, and I'll have to limp, or I'll walk. Like, say this is my foot right here. How am I going to explain this? Say this is my big toe, or my thumb is my big toe. I don't know how to explain this. I can't walk on my toe. I have to walk on this side. So I'm walking like this. Whenever that toe, instead of walking flat like that, I'll walk like this for the rest of the day, or a couple days, however long it takes for my toe. Even doing that just right now, that hurt my toe, but I never talked about it. So little injuries like that kept me from training, so I did quit wrestling. Well, I remember when I went to D1 college, I had already quit wrestling, and I talked to the coach. I said, I want to get back into wrestling. I regret quitting. I want to try again. He looked at me. I was weighing about 220 pounds. He's pretty upset that I quit on him already. He says, if you're going to be serious, you have to show me that you're serious. I want you to lose 20 pounds first. Being a wrestler, I was thinking 20 pounds, that's nothing. I can do that in a week, 2 weeks. And I wasn't able to do that. I think I maybe tried for a couple of days. Maybe I got down to 218, 215, then I quit. And that was basically the end of my wrestling career. But I walked around. From then, I was about maybe 20, 22. 220 pounds was my walking around weight for a long time. What they say is true. Your metabolism slows down when you get older. I remember thinking as an 18-year-old, it'll never happen. Well, I'm 25. Well, right now I'm 30. I'm 31 or 32. I think the doctor told me today that I was 32, so I'll believe him. But when I was about 25, I think I started to gain weight past the 220 range. I got into the 230 range, and I played around with 230, 220, basically for all the way up until closer to when I was 30. Well, what happened is um, that's not very healthy. If you're 5'7" and 220, 230 pounds, besides that, I'm not just walking around or sitting in couches. I'm going to the gyms. I'm lifting weights. I'm running. When I think there's a difference between a 220-pound bag of potatoes, I guess, is what I would consider myself. If you're walking, that's fine. That's not. But I still have the mindset of an athlete, so I'm still running 3 miles and lifting weights and everything. And just imagine that weight, that much impact, and my body started to break down pretty fast in a lot of ways, especially in these last 2 years. My body's been breaking down. It's like started thinking about surgery, and it's something I never thought I'd have to go through. Um, First thing that happened is maybe I was 25. My back went out, and that was a muscle issue. I just stayed low for 2 or 3 days and waited it off, and that went away. Then nothing really serious happened again, other than, like I said, my shin splints and my turf toe were always an issue, but nothing major like your back going out. About 3 years later, it happened again. My back went out again. This time I was working, so I had to take a workman's comp, and I had to go to a chiropractor, and they told me, well, my hips were uneven, and said all this stuff. I didn't listen to them. Kept going, still walking around 220, 230 pounds. Then I get a job as a truck driver. And if your job is driving truck, you sit in a truck for 10 to 12 hours a day staring at the road. As a truck driver, I gained 30 pounds easy. So I was about 260. My highest weight was last year, or the year before that. Must have been the year before that, around December. I hit 268 pounds, 270 pounds. And then again, like I said, I'm 5'7", so that was pretty bad. I joined a group. If you guys want to give it a shot, you can. I don't think I can try it again because they have stipulations, but it's called Healthy Wage. What they'll do is they'll bet you if you can lose weight or not, and if you lose the weight, then you'll get all the money back, plus they'll owe you whatever. So I ended up losing the weight, and it's a legit cause. If you guys want to look into that, it's called Healthy Wage. I don't want to really talk too much about that. It's just a good company, so if you want to look into that, you can. But I did lose the weight, and then uh, I got the money, and I remember the last few days, staying true to my nature. About a month away, they gave me a year to make the weight. I had to lose, I think, 50 pounds. So I went from I can't remember what I weighed in at, but my final weight had to be 218 pounds. So whatever 18 plus 50 is 268. I had to get down to 218 pounds. I did it all within like the last 3-4 months. I think I got down around 240, 245 all the way up until the last 3 months. And then I finished off the rest. While I was trying to make the last, I don't know, 10, 15 pounds and maybe 4 or 5 days. And I did it. I went out to the Y and stayed in the sauna. And especially the last 3 or 4 days, I basically worked out for, I don't know, 6 hours a day. So I did make the weight. One of the times I was in the sauna, this guy was talking to me, and he was basically telling me the same story, that he's been losing some kind of weight, and I told him that I was fasting and I'm trying to cut weight, and he's like, oh yeah, I've been doing it, and he was lost the same amount of weight as I did, and he tells me, yeah, once this weight's off me, or now that this weight is off me, I'm never going back. And I told him the same thing. I said, yeah, I'm never going back. This was last year. Today's May, so what is this, 6 months ago? It was about 6 months ago. I was 218 pounds and talking to this guy who was very same predicament. and he's telling me how he's not ever going to go back up, and I'm telling him, yeah, this is it for me too. I need to stay down here, and I'm going to lose even some more weight. I'll probably get down 205 range, maybe 200. There was one time period about when I was 20, I was firefighting. 1920, I got down to 170, and that was all cardio, so I lost a lot of muscle. I remember losing two kids in high school wrestling, and they were a lot stronger than me. I really felt bad about it because I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing it right. I lost a lot of strength. All I was doing was cardio, 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 eating really healthy. I did feel good. I did have a lot of cardio, a ton of cardio. I was 170 pounds, and it maybe took, once I broke that diet and that lifestyle, it probably took me 5 months before I got back up to 210, 215. So anyways, 6 months ago, I was 218 pounds, 217.6 or however much it was. Well, I didn't stay true to that lifestyle. It all came back, and within 3 or 4 months. So now I've lost, well, I want to say I lost anything. Right now I'm about 250 pounds, about 255 actually. If I eat healthy tomorrow, if I eat healthy for the next couple days, I'll be about 250. So I'm about 255, and just kind of depressed. What's really is bothering me right now, a few new injuries have occurred these last 3 years. My hip was the most embarrassing thing that's happened. About 3 years ago, my hip started hurting really bad. Can't sleep on that side, and it's just a really awkward pain right there for a 28-year-old to have. You have 80-year-old men or 60-year-old men, geezers, having hip replacements, and I am as not even 30 years old thinking, man, I'm gonna have to go have a hip replacement or hip surgery. So very embarrassing. My hip's okay a little bit right now. Also, my knees have been hurting too. Of course, my hips still hurts, but it's not as bad as it has been. It maybe goes up and down. What's also really bad is I got a son right now. He's 18, 19, 20. I think he's 20 months, and a dog, a little pit bull. Well, this shoulder right here started bothering me really bad, and I don't know exactly what it was from. Maybe it's from driving truck. I think there's some nerve damage from a job that I had before. I won't say what job that was, but they're kind of notorious for tearing up your shoulders. I think ever since then there's some nerve damage. It got so bad, I basically had to quit my truck driving job because I couldn't manually shift the gears, and they gave me an automatic truck. So it's kind of cheating a little bit, but job's a job. So I drive an automatic truck, but every now and then I'll drive a manual. I can only drive it for a couple days, and my shoulder's out. I can't use my shoulder anymore. Also, what's bad about it? It might be recovered right now. I don't know. I haven't tried it out. I couldn't throw. Uh, it hurts to throw. When I was playing fetch with my dog, he would bring the tennis ball. I had to kick the ball for him because I couldn't throw it. That's, and I'm thinking about my son. I want to play catch with him, and it sucks to think that. Well, honestly, I'll have to learn how to throw with my left hand because I'm gonna play catch with my kids. You know, uh, that's just something I'm gonna do. But with my right shoulder, I can't do that right now. Back injuries, but back went out. Uh, a couple of years ago was fine, but about 3 months ago, it's been shooting this sharp pain in my back and uh, my lower back. Uh, sharp pain. It's been getting worse and worse and worse and worse. Right now, it's to the point if I stand, like in church, we sing these songs and they'll sing another song and then another song and then they'll talk a little bit and then they'll sing another song. We stand for about, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 minutes singing. This is a fact. Every time It'll happen this next Sunday too. It'll happen the Sunday after that, I'm sure. If I stand for 10 minutes, I can't sit down right away. Maybe I should have given an example and I should have been standing this whole time. Say if I'm standing right here, just minding my business, staying right here, staying put, and then I go to sit down, I can't. I'll have to, like my chair's right behind me right now. This is what I look like in church. Nobody see me because the lights are dark and everything. So I'll just I have to figure it out. How am I going to sit down? This happens every Sunday. And then finally I can position myself. And once it breaks, once it's okay, then I can stand up and sit down. You guys saw me taking some shots earlier. I can lift 100 pounds, 200 pounds upstairs, downstairs. I feel real strong, but every once in a while my back, he just, how you just saw me just now, that's how I really look. And my back's in incredible amounts of pain. So my plan was to go to the doctor after I lost some weight, but it's been getting pretty bad. My wife, she's not really happy that I've been procrastinating going to the doctor. I told her, well, I have a doctor. I've watched YouTube videos. That's how I know what my back's doing, because I've been watching all these YouTube videos. She didn't like that answer. But I went to the doctor today, got some x-rays, and they pretty much told me what I was already thinking. I don't know what's wrong with my back because it's an x-ray. If it's a disc, they can't capture that on an x-ray. They have to do an MRI. But in order to get an MRI, you have to go to the doctor. And what I found out today is they have to go to 2 weeks of official therapy. So you have to do therapy with another doctor. And then if your back isn't better after that, then they can refer you to the specialist and do the MRI scanning, and they'll be able to see the disc. I'm not going to do 2 weeks of therapy because I can't take 2 weeks off of work to do that. So, but there's a slow season, thankfully. I'll say all this, that I am very thankful for God and to God for all the things that He's done in my life and with my family, and just very, very happy that I do have God in my life and I do have a strong support system and a great family. So I don't know if I sound bitter. I hope I don't. I'm really not. I'm very happy. I'm embarrassed is what it is. It's a type of embarrassment. So what I'm going to do is this. I came up with this plan. I want to share this with you guys. If you guys want to see this plan and do it for yourself, then that's great. I think it'll help. It's not a proven plan. It's my own plan I made up overnight. And it's mostly so that you guys can check in with me and say, how are you doing? How are you holding up? And I think that's been my biggest downfall is I'll lie to people. Or here you have this, for instance. I was thinking about this earlier today. If somebody asks me how I'm doing with my weight loss or with my health or with anything, I'll say, well, it hasn't been going. I've been doing good, but you know what? I just started again, and I'm gonna get back on it. And they'll say right away, "Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. That's good. You're keeping up with it." Well, then I'll quit in a couple of days. I don't know if you guys have been listening to this whole story. But it's like that instance when that coach asked me to lose 20 pounds and then he'll train me, and I gave up a few days after that. And, it's just 20 pounds, but I gave up. So when you quit, you're not supposed to be congratulated or, patted on the back. I don't know how some of you feel about that, but you're supposed to be kind of disciplined or talked down to, not really talked down to, but encouraged in a way that they call it, I think they call it constructively criticized. Well, I would see them in a couple of weeks after I'd quit, and they would say, "Hey, how's your health doing? How's your weight loss doing?" I'm like, I haven't been doing it. Kind of slipped up a little bit. I would use those keywords to kind of put pity on myself, or to build that environment, that shield. And I said, "But I'm doing really good right now, though. been eating healthy the last couple of days, and I'm gonna start eating healthy and keep doing that. I joined a gym, and they would say, "Oh, that's good, that's good," and it's the same thing over and over and over and over again. But 2 years later, 3 years later, 10 years later, 15 years later, I'm more unhealthy than I was, because every time I talk to somebody, they would always say, "Oh, that's good that you're trying, you're starting." Well, take that for what it is. Yes, it's good to have that no quit attitude. And I listen to a lot of people, successive people, and they say quitting is not an option. But with my mentality, I'm looking around at my options, and I'm saying in my head, yeah, quitting is an option. It's right there. I can prove it. I can do it right now. If I want to, quitting's always an option. Uh, so how does that work for me in my mindset? Because people who are successful, and they say you have to understand that quitting's never an option. If it is an option, you're gonna fail. And I'm saying, yeah, but I'm looking around and I know realistically that, yeah, quitting's always an option, and yeah, I would take it. But the path that I want to take and try to explain for myself is believing in God and believing in Christ, is that with failure, I think this is true for my life. It's more that when you do quit, or if you do quit, you get back up and you try again. And that's kind of what this program, I think, does. It allows you to say, it's going to allow me, you don't have to do it. This is for me. I just want to explain it so that you guys can check up on me in a couple of weeks. And I'll try to post a video every couple of weeks or so, and be held accountable and see if this program's going to work or not. But it's more that when you quit, you always have the option to get back up again. And that's all I'm trying to do right now, is just get back up again. Not getting up, that's what's not an option. I always, no matter how many times I fall or fail, I always have the option available to me to get back up, no matter what. So here's this program. It's called, I don't know if you read the title now, it's called the 100-Point Challenge Explanation. The 100 points is very easy, yet it's very difficult. I did it for 3 days. I lost 10 pounds, but that's kind of, I could have lost those 10 pounds almost doing nothing, because those 10 pounds I gained because I was eating junk food 3 times a day. So anyways, but I did lose weight and I did feel better in those 3 days. Then I quit it's been 2 weeks since I started. And I said, no, I'm going to start this back up, and I'm going to put a live video, and I'm going to be held accountable to as many people as I can. So here's the challenge. I tried it earlier to see how well you can see. Find the camera here. There's 100 points. If you look over here, here's the point system. Sorry, this video is terrible. I'm gonna do my best to explain it. I'm trying to figure out, if I go left, it'll show right on the camera. Everything's backwards. Or you can pause it and zoom in or something. I'll explain it a little bit. I'm not getting this. Okay, maybe closer. All right, there you go. If you look on the right or left, you see those numbers there. Those are your points. You get 1 point for praying for 5 minutes. 1 point. This is all in 24 hours or the day, from the time you wake up to the time you go to sleep. You get 1 point for 3 glasses of water. I'm going to take this down a little bit so I can kind of do a better job explaining. Here's a better angle, maybe. Yeah, maybe I just won't get on the camera, and I'll just put the system up here for a little bit. Praying for 5 minutes, well, that'll get you 1 point. Your goal, I'm going to talk about these points. Your goal is to get 20. My goal, I keep saying, I'm not challenging anybody to do this. This is for me. My goal is to get 100 points in 7 days. If you guys looked, and I'll show you again, in 7 days, each day you can get 25 points possible, maximum 25 points. So in 7 days, you can get 7 times 25, 175 points. In 7 days, you can get 175 points. The goal in 7 days is to only get 100 points. So it sounds easy. It's like, well, you're offering 175 points if you do everything every day. And the reason why I do that is because I know from my habits, from my lifestyle, that I'm not going to do everything the right way. And then it's like, well, did I fail that day? Well, this system's going to allow you, you're not failing anything. If you did look at my schedule, when I did it for 3 days, over here, on Sunday, I only got 9 points that day. Saturday, I got 17 points. Monday, I got 18 points. So you can get 3 points in a day and still be fine for the week. That's fine. So that's the 100-point challenge. You have to get 100 points each week. I have to get 100 points each week. I'm going to get 100 points each week. So I'm going to explain my points. 1 point you get for praying for 5 minutes. If you're not comfortable doing that, I guess I'll share this with everybody. So I'm going to say you. And when I say you, I'm speaking to myself and whoever wants to join or come up with their own kind of system that's like this. But it's not really about myself. I think that's what I was missing out with everything. I was trying to do it for myself. But that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this live video, so I can not really be held accountable just by myself and for myself, but it's be held accountable by my family, by my group. People can check up on me and say, hey, I saw your 100-point videos. How your points been doing? You've been messing up, man. You gotta look out for your family. You gotta be able to throw and play catch with your kids. Pray for 5 minutes, you get 1 point. Drink 3 glasses of water in a day, you get 1 point. 20 minutes of exercise, you get 5 points for 20 minutes of exercise. I'm going to explain this next one. What I originally did was you get another 5 points. It says right there for your neighbor. What that originally was going to be, you'll get another 5 points if you do another 25 or another 20 minutes of exercise. 20 minutes of exercise can vary depending on who you are. For me, I really don't break a sweat in 20 minutes. Not really. Not like I did when I was wrestling college. But so for me, my goal is just to get my heart rate up. I can do that in about 3 or 4 minutes, and then to maintain that heart rate for the next 15 to 18 minutes. So that's exercising. It's nothing strict. It's not like this much push-ups, this much running. You can walk for 20 minutes and call it 20 minutes of exercise if you want, or whatever it is. It's up to anybody who's going to do it. Instead of getting another 5 points for doing another 20 minutes, I wanted to include other people. So I canceled out the extra 20 minutes of exercise and I replaced that with 5 minutes. It says neighbor, or not 5 minutes. It says 5 points neighbor. What that is everything else is, if you do it, you get those points. 3 glasses of water, you get 1 point. If you drink 2 glasses of water, you don't get half a point. You get 1 point. If you do 20 minutes of exercise, you get 5 points. If you do 10 minutes of exercise, you don't get 3 points. You get 0. So you have to complete those things to the full amount in order to get those points. If you don't, then you get 0 points. When it comes to your neighbor, it says 5 points for your neighbor. It's basically, you can get 1 point, you can get 0 points, you can get 3 points. you can get all 5 points. It's up to you on how you felt you treated your neighbors and that day. Were you nice to them? Did you go out to them? Did you ask them if they needed help with anything? Did you pick up trash around the yard or pick up some leaves? Or how are you treating your neighbor? And these are all actions, activities. Even I guess calling them on the phone, you can just say, hey, I was just thinking, how are you doing and everything. These are things that go on in your mind. As I'm learning, the mind is a huge part of your body. When you're setting things off in your mind and how to be positive, that's going through your body. That's allowing you to have energy, basically, and to use up energy. If you're on the phone with somebody, it can be exhausting. If you go visit somebody and they're sick and they're unhealthy, that's exhausting. You may not be able to have the energy to exercise for 20 minutes. If you're doing something extremely stressful, but you're hanging in there, that's a lot of energy. You can get those points. So you may not have been able to exercise for 20 minutes that day, but you'll get some points just for your behavior and how you were able to be positive to the people around you and share with them. Give your energy to other people, not just to your own self. Then you get 5 points for your diet. So you may not get 5 points for your neighbor. 5 points is like I don't know, I saved somebody's life today, I got 5 points. Or I said hi to my neighbor. You're not going to get 5 points for saying hi to your neighbor. It's not that easy. You can give yourself 1 point. I'll give myself 1 point just by saying, please and thank you, and asking if I can help out in some way, or scheduling something out, being overall positive, not cutting people off or flipping people off. And I don't do that anyways, but so you're not going to get all 5 points just by saying hi, but you'll get some points. It's up to whoever's doing it. So you can get 1 point or 5 points or 0 points for that day. Same thing with your diet. If you have a perfect diet, if you look at what I did over here for my diet, I got a 4, a 2, and a 3. So trying to figure this out here. This way, then this way. There you go. 4, 2, 3. 4 was a pretty good diet. I forget why. I think I maybe had too much salad dressing that day, and maybe an extra sandwich or something. Wasn't too bad. A 2, maybe I had a candy bar or something, and then a 3, I don't know, maybe another candy bar, but it wasn't that bad. So that's not a perfect diet, but like I said, when I experimented with this, I did lose weight, and I'm gonna keep going through this. And maybe this system doesn't work. Maybe nothing's gonna happen, but I don't know. I was just thinking about it. So the diet isn't everything, and exercise is not everything when it comes to your health. And I think that's the main thing that a lot of people are focusing on, is when they're trying to be healthy, is they're trying to exercise and they're trying to diet. But I don't believe in my heart and in my mind that just because you exercise and just because you have a good diet, I don't think you're healthy. If that's all you're doing, if you're not treating your neighbors right, if you're not going out and experiencing your community, I just don't think just because you have diet and exercise means you're going to be healthy. So this is for your health in all the ways. So you can get your diet. You can get 4 points or 2 points or 0 points, however much you want. Up to 5 points is your maximum. That's the most that you can get for that day. Then what does that say? 15 minutes of reading your Bible. You don't want to read your Bible, or somebody doesn't want to read your Bible, I don't know what to tell you. Find something, I guess. It's 5 points. So that right there teaches me what I need to do, how I need to behave, what can I learn, who God is to me, who does he portray himself to me so that I can live for him. And that's what I was talking about, my health. If you feel guilty, you're just not going to be healthy. You're going to be stressed all the time. So I feel like I need to be held accountable to God and the life that he gave me and the family that he gave me, the jobs that I have, or the responsibilities I have. I got to learn from the Bible, the experiences that people have taken over that lifetime of leading up to the death and burial and resurrection of Christ, who I believe died for all of us, so that we can all. That's why I say I can always get back up again, no matter what, because of how Jesus got back up after he died. Even that there's nothing that can hold him down, and he extends his victory onto me, onto us. So that's why I feel like I owe it. That 15 minutes of Bible reading, I'm going to get 5 points if I do that. What does that last one say? Stretching for 5 minutes, you get 3 points. The 15 minutes of Bible reading, you either get that or you don't. If you do 10 minutes of Bible reading, I don't think you should get three points or whatever. So you either get that or you don't. Same thing with stretching. Stretch for 5 minutes and you get 3 points. I have to be careful with my stretching personally. I don't know that I'll get these points a whole lot, because the way that the disc issue I was telling you with my back, the idea or the theory is that you have a disc between your spines, and that's kind of how your vertebrae, whenever you jump, those are your shocks, those discs don't pick up on the x-rays, so that's why they weren't able to see if I had bad disc or not. So I'll get an MRI later on and see if that's true, if my discs are out of place. But if they are out of place, the muscles are keeping those discs inside of the spine. If you stretch those muscles, they will relax, and if they relax, those discs will have the freedom to jump out. And what it is, that pain is it hits a nerve. There's a nerve that runs down your spine, and when that disc hits it, that's the pain that you're feeling. So your muscles, they counteract that. Your body's telling you you need that muscles. So it's hard for me to stretch. I'll stretch my shoulders, but even my shoulder hurts. Just like, what can I do when I stretch? I can't stretch my shoulder. I can't stretch my back, and my hip hurts. So I do some stretches. I'm not flexible. I'm pretty flexible. So I do some stretches, but I don't need those points. If I do everything else, that's 23 points. I don't know if you're looking over here. I don't need 23 points. If you do the math, which I've already done, what you need in order to do this challenge successfully, what I need is 14.5 points each day. So I don't know if this averages out, but I think that this gets me 15 points a day. Let's see, I'm not going to do the math right here. I'll embarrass myself. Real